I wanted to take just a minute or two to talk about tragedies. Tragedies, they're just an inevitable part of life, right? I mean, we're all going to experience a tragedy in one way or another. But there is a specific type of tragedy that I feel like is really, 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 really super, super, super common, yet we don't really talk about it ever. And the tragedy that I'm referring to is not living a life that is true to yourself and instead settling for a life that is expected of you by everyone else. It's like, why do we do that? And literally, I feel like we all do it. And in my personal opinion, I just feel like that's the biggest tragedy of all. I read a case study a couple months ago, and it was the top regrets of the dying. And two of these regrets stood out to me the most. It was the number one and number two top regrets of people who were at the last leg of their life. And the number one regret of people who were on the verge of passing away was not living a life true to themselves. That's like tragic to me. And number two was not having the courage to follow their dreams. I want to bring some awareness around this because I don't want the time to come where, we're contemplating the last few days of our lives and we're having these regrets like, fuck, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I follow my dreams? Why didn't I have the courage to be myself? And trust me, I get it. I understand that there's a lot of pressure out there to be a specific way. And quite frankly, I think it's bullshit. I think we live in a society that profits from your self-doubt and loving yourself and being who you really are nowadays is like a rebellious act. And that's crazy to me. Not to mention all of the anxiety and depression that comes from not living a life true to yourself. There's a lot of pressure on us to be a specific way, to make a specific amount of money, to live a life in these set standards in this little box. But what I've found in kind of my personal observation is that people that are going against what their authentic self wants, they're miserable. And then, you're 75, 80, 85 years old thinking like, fuck, why was I trying to be like everybody else? My life would have been so much doper if I just had the courage to be me. So what I'm trying to say is, first off, if you have these thoughts of maybe wanting to take a different path or wanting to pursue a passion, but you're fearful of how people will receive you, I want you to know first and foremost that you're not alone. I do talk to a lot of people, and I feel like the main cause and root of people's depression and anxiety and angst is not following their heart, not listening to what their intuition's telling them, not listening to their authentic self, and being scared of being who they really are. It's rough out there. I realize that. I just don't want the time to come where we're on our deathbeds and we wish that we lived a life true to ourselves. Everything else is temporary in this life, but memories that we create are eternal. Experiences are eternal. Materialistic stuff is dope, right? Like, I like a sweater, I like some nice earrings, a cool whip, but one thing I know for sure is those things aren't going to come with me when I pass away. But memories, experiences, and human connections are eternal. So maybe we need to start focusing on that more than materialistic things. So I digress. I just want to be an advocate for people to have the courage to be themselves, because there's no other person out there like you. And I think this world could be a really super dope place if we capitalized on ourselves rather than try to be like everyone else. Much love, y'all.